Hey guys, what's going on? James here, and in this video today, we're going to be talking more about some of the possibilities of the Bucs in the 2025 NFL Draft, specifically the idea of taking a wide receiver. Now, as I've said in multiple videos, Jason Light had a press conference recently, and he had a lot of juicy quotes, in my opinion, and when asked on the need to constantly try to provide depth at wide receiver, even with already having Mike Evans and Chris Godwin, Jason Light had this to say. Yeah, we could always use receivers. I think Todd Bowles even said you have to score points to win. He did say that. Kudos to you, Jason Light. You know, we're fortunate to have those two, and who knows how long they'll play. It could be longer than what people are saying, and then kudos to our offense, our coaches last year for getting production out of Sterling Shepard and Jalen McMillan, like you said, and Ryan Miller and those guys. We always want to try to keep that group fresh and look for the next J-Mac, Jalen McMillan. We're not going to overlook that position at all if everything falls that way for us. Now, this resonates, again, very similar to what Jason Light was referencing in regards to Todd Bowles, where you have to score points to win. And we talked about this in a separate video where the Bucs say, hey, we're not going to pass on a high-level offensive player if they are on the board and we feel like it is the best player available to us, right? This continues that conversation. But whenever you talk about the next Jalen McMillan, well, Jalen McMillan was a third-round draft pick. Okay, so that is a very interesting. So whenever you hear specifically like, hey, we're looking for the next Jalen McMillan, yes, that makes sense on paper. You're looking for the next guy who can put up 461 receiving yards and 8 receiving touchdowns. But I also take that in a bit of a different way as well. I take that as, hey, we're looking for maybe another third round wide receiver. Maybe somebody in the middle rounds who we know can come out there and be a starting caliber wide receiver for us. Chris Godwin's another great example of that. Chris Godwin was another third round draft pick by Jason Light and his staff. So they are possibly going to be looking for that next Chris Godwin, that next Jalen McMillan. And that ties in more to what the Bucs have already been saying, which is we're not going to pass up on a big time offensive player if they are available in the right spot and the circumstances all align, which is what Jason Light said at the end of this quote here. We're not going to overlook that position at all if everything falls that way for us. And it does make sense, right? It does make sense because, again, you know, Mike Evans isn't getting any younger. Chris Godwin has come off of a couple of big injuries in his career. Now, the Bucs have been very confident about Chris Godwin returning from that injury, but I agree, you can always use more receivers. Yes, the Buccaneers do have a deep wide receiver room, but we saw what happened last year with all the injuries that had happened, right? That does have to concern the Bucs a little bit. Mike Evans missed time. Chris Godwin missed time. Sterling Shepard was out there for a little bit. Jalen McMillan had a couple of injuries here and there. Like, the Bucs had situations where Ryan Miller was like your number 2 wide receiver and Sterling Shepard was your number 1. Right? So you do want to continue to add to that room. You do want to continue to bolster that room. Just because everybody is healthy and likely available today on April 14th, as I am recording this video, does not mean they are going to be fully healthy and fully available throughout the entirety of an NFL season. So it's always good to have contingency plans. It's always good to have depth. Now, I say all of that to say this. I still think the Buccaneers should go defense early in this draft. I'm talking about round 1, round 2. I'm still even going to throw round 3 in there, despite what Jason Light is saying, like, hey, we're looking for the next J-Mac, right? Or the next Chris Godwin. But if you told me the Bucs were getting a wide receiver in, say, round 4, maybe round 5, that's something I would be fine with. That's something I would be okay with. Because at that point, you've addressed a lot of your major needs, right, in terms of defense, maybe edge rusher, cornerback, inside linebacker. Now you can focus on building depth at other stuff. Defensive line is in that mix. Wide receiver may be in that mix as well. I think you can maybe draft another cornerback just to continue to add to that room. Maybe you get another safety at that point. I still believe early on, round 1, round 2, I would even go as far as round 3, invest in the defense. Okay, and we'll talk about that in a separate video, but I still want the Bucs to invest in their defense. It's very important. It should be very important. They recognize that that's important, but they're not going to close the door on taking a wide receiver. They've done it a lot during Jason Licht's tenure. In fact, I want to see, while I've got everybody here, how often the Bucs draft a wide receiver. Have they taken a wide receiver every year of the Jason Licht era? I'm very curious about that. Let me go ahead and see if we can find this. Okay, so Jason Licht started his tenure with Tampa Bay in 2014. They took 2 wide receivers in 2014. Okay, you then go on to 2015. They did take a wide receiver. They took Kalen Clay. 2 wide receivers again. They took Kenny Bell. The next year, no wide receivers in 2016. The following year, they took another wide receiver. They took Chris Godwin. The following year, they took Justin Watson in 2018. 2019, they took Scotty Miller. What about 2020? They took Tyler Johnson. 2021, it was Jalen Darden. 2022, no wide receivers. Okay. 2023, they took Trey Palmer. 2024, they took Jalen McMillan. So you're telling me, out of every single draft that Jason Licht has had, okay, going all the way back to 2014, there's only 2 drafts where Jason Licht did not take a wide receiver at some point in the NFL draft. That would lead me to believe that, yeah, the Bucs are very likely to take a wide receiver in this draft, guys. That would lead me to believe that. And look, Jason Licht's been picking receivers all over the yard. Okay, he's picked a guy in round 1. He's picked a guy in round 6. He's picked a guy in round 5. He's picked a guy in round 3. Picked a guy in round 5 again. Round 6 again. Sorry, I didn't want to forget about Kalen Clay, another receiver in round 6. Picked a guy in round 5, a wide receiver in round 4, a receiver in round 6 yet again, a receiver in round 3. So he's taken a receiver pretty much in every single round of an NFL draft besides round 7 and round 2. Every other round, Jason Licht has taken a wide receiver. So I think that whenever you look at just the overall trend, I think you can see that continue, right? I think there is a distinct possibility the Bucs will take a wide receiver in this upcoming draft. And if they are looking for that next Jalen McMillan, maybe it's a middle round guy. Maybe you're looking at round 4 or maybe even round 5. But what do you guys think about this? Let me know your thoughts and opinions about it down in the comment section below. I'd love to hear it. Thank you guys so much for watching this video. Hope y'all enjoyed. And as always, guys, I will see you all in the next video or the next live stream. But until then, and as always, guys, goodbye for now and go Bucs.